So we're going to start on this first project. If you have downloaded the file successfully and opened it, you will see what I've got here on my screen. It is it has two artboards. These canvases here are called artboards. So there's one on the left, which is where you'll be experimenting on using the paintbrush and pencil tool, and then there's the artwork on the right, which is just intended to allow you to place that apple here on the farmer's market table. So let's take a little look. First thing I'd like you to do is make sure that you are using Essentials Classic as your desktop. If you are not, choose that. That arranges your tools in the same order as they are shown here in this video. And then I'd like you to first work with the pencil tool, right? So you need to find the pencil tool. If the icon isn't showing up here in the toolbar, you can click on the little caret here in the corner, right? So there's a little caret. Most all of these have carets, and that's because there are more tools that are hidden. So choose that pencil tool, and then what I'd like to have you do is change the properties on this pencil tool. So I'd like you to double click on that icon, and that pulls up the tool options panel, and you can slide the fidelity. That means either a very accurate line or a smooth line, depending on if you're using a mouse or a trackball, a trackpad. It helps to control the line. So I would recommend smooth, and then we're going to check this keep selected, right? Because that's going to allow us to edit the path as we're working on it, and I'm going to show you that in a second. And everything else is fine at this point. So we're going to hit OK. Now I have some dashed template lines for you to experiment on with these apples. You're going to work your way through these, and then I have a blank here because I'm going to let you just freehand your own drawing, and then after you're done going through this process, I'd like you to pick your best option and copy and paste it over here. But first thing I want to do is point out that these are really small, so you really don't want to work on your artwork when it's this small, and so I suggest using the zoom tool, right? Notice that all the tools in Illustrator, in Adobe, have pop-out captions to tell you what it is. So that's really helpful. So navigate to the zoom tool. You can also use, in parentheses, you can also use the letter that is shown in parentheses so that you don't have to reach over here with your mouse. You can just press on the keyboard to Z for zoom, and just kind of click on top of the area that you want to zoom into, and then drag to the lower right. And you can do that several times. Right? Now, another thing I want to show you is the grabber tool. So anytime you're using any tool at all, if you hold down the spacebar, you get a little hand, and that allows you to grab your artboard and move it around. Right, so now we're going to go to the pencil tool. So find that pencil tool and click on it. Hopefully you've double clicked already and changed the fidelity, right? And we're going to now start working on our drawing. So let us try working with each of these different elements. I think we should try with the stem first. So you're going to just basically follow the dashed line. And you don't have to be too accurate with this stem because much of this shape is going to be hidden underneath other shapes. Okay? So a little hard to see, but I have created that stem. And at this point, you may say to yourself, well, I'm seeing the stem. Let me make this a little bit bigger. But it's not filled in. It's just the color. Here, let me pull it out so you can see it. It's just a path that has a color in the path, and there's no fill color, right? So we're going to fix that. We're going to take, let me move it back here. We're going to come up here to the panel up here in the top, and we're going to change that fill, right? We're going to find a color that we like, right? And we don't really even need, so you have two options. You can choose a color or you can choose none. Right, so the stroke, I'm going to change that to none. All right. So now I'm going to come back here to my pencil tool, right? And I'm going to start drawing these other objects, right? And you'll notice what happens when you do that, which is that whatever color you assign the last shape, whatever that may be, that color is going to show up on your very next shape. See, and that was a bad line I did there. So here you can see I kind of made a bad line. I'm using a trackball. So what you can do is you can move back into the line, and you notice that little asterisk disappears, and you can go ahead and fix that. Right? So as long as this path is active, and you know it's active because you can see the path handles, right? As long as that path is active, you can come back into it, and that's one of those settings in the panel, right? So then when you get ready to be complete with that, you can come up here and you can give it a color, right? All right. So now we're going to go back to this tool here, and we're going to, now here's where things get kind of tricky. So let's say I want to do this other half of the leaf, right, which I'm going to give a slightly different color. If I move my pencil close to the shape that I just created, the asterisk disappears. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to continue the work on this one, right? So what you really need to do is you need to hold down the Option key. Let's see, there we go. I'm sorry, the Command key on the Mac. It's probably the Alt key on PC. And deselect. You can also come up here to select and deselect. Right. So now now I can go ahead and, sorry, create this other shape. Right now, I'm going to kind of not worry so much maybe about and I'm probably going to want to fix that. I have a very shaky hand because I'm using a trackball, which is not ideal. Okay, that looks pretty good. And let me give that, let's see, if I give it the same color, then it's not going to really be easy. It's not going to really help, right? Okay. So that basically is that process there. And when you are done with that, then I'd like you to try using the paintbrush tool, which is a little bit different for some of these other elements, right? So you can use the paintbrush tool, and the paintbrush tool has sort of different properties to it, but it also has that same property of smoothing or making something more accurate. And it also has the ability to fix. Oops. Right, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make that this color, and I'm going to make this nothing, right? So I have an apple here on the left, so you can use that as reference, right? So you're going to go ahead and try the paintbrush tool, the pencil tool, and then here freeform whatever apple you want. And then again, when you are done, you're going to place that apple there. Then you're finished with this project, and you can submit it.